Hey guys, it's Stephen here. How are you all doing? Manchester City have just beat Newport 4-1 to progress through to the next round of the FA Cup. We're still in loads of cup competitions. How good does that sound? We're still on for that elusive... No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to jinx and say those words. But we're still in all the cup competitions and life looks really, really good. And today I'm going to react about that game and talk a little bit about it. I've been away for a few days, just relaxing, and I thought I'd take a little bit of a break after my holiday and just get my head clear a little bit because it's got loads of games coming up. It's going to be loads of videos, so I thought I'd take a little bit of a break while there's a bit of breaking football, and it's good to be back. First of all, I want to say very big thank you to Charlie Molina and Simon Gaskell, my newest patrons, for supporting this channel. Simon, Charlie, absolute heroes. If you want to get involved, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany. You can get a shout out like Simon and Charlie have just got, and you can get your name in the credits and get involved in the Patreon only Q&A if you want to. But if not, just keep on watching those videos and I will love you all the same. But yes, going into this game, it was going to be decided. Well, not going to be decided, but the big talking point was about that pitch, and it did live up to the expectations. It was a bad pitch. It was really bad. I still maintain beforehand that that pitch shouldn't have decided the game. Like, we're too good to moan about the pitch too much, but it was obviously a talking point. It was obviously going to be a talking point about the kind of, you know, the magic of the FA Cup, about how the little minnows could shock us and how it could have been interesting and all that kind of stuff. And largely, it did kind of turn out that way. Newport had absolutely nothing to lose, and it was a huge game for them, possibly the biggest in the history of their club. And they were rightfully excited, and Pep did actually treat the game with loads of respect. They must have been shocked to see that team that we rocked up with at the Rodney Parade Stadium. I love that name, by the way. It was a very strong team. We had Emerson in goal. Oh, sorry, Edison, unless I was John Hartson there. Emerson. What was he doing? If you're watching the same commentary I was watching, he kept saying Emerson. It drove me mad. Edison was in goal. Then we had Danilo at right back. And left back was Zinchenko carrying on after his Chelsea performance. Then we had Stones and Otamendi. And then we're pretty strong midfield. The Fernandinho, David Silva, and the prodigy Phil Foden. Then Mahrez on the right, Gabriel Jesus, and Leroy Sane completed the attacking lineup. So it was a very strong team, and one hopefully that could have dealt with the kind of bubbly pitch. And into the first half, did they deal with it? Kind of yes and no. It took a while to get going, but I think perspective is always needing these kind of things. The first half, Newport were clearly up for it, and why wouldn't they be up for it? This was an absolutely huge game for them. They had a couple of decent chances as well. One particular save from Edison down to his right was absolutely fantastic. A big, strong right hand from a close range header. City had already gone pretty close before that with Mahrez at one point, working the keeper down to his right. We also should have had a penalty as well, a clear handball not given, and then there was a couple of little kind of half decent moments for Newport and for City, but the first half was largely a war of attrition. Not much happened. It was a bit minging. It was a little bit kind of scrappy. The kind of game you actually would expect, really. Despite me joking about Mahrez on Twitter, and I was only joking about the shoot constantly thing, though he does shoot constantly. It's just part of his game. I actually thought Mahrez in the first half particularly was one of our most dangerous players. Sometimes with a pitch that bad, maybe adopting this kind of shoot on site policy isn't actually a bad thing, because it did put Newport on the back foot a little bit, and he did a few little chances, a couple way shot wide, a couple way he kind of cut in on his left foot and drilled it towards the keeper, but didn't quite go in. And Sane also hit the crossbar after being played through. He kind of made the right choice, maybe to kind of shoot up towards the roof of the net, but it didn't quite go in. But the first half was just that kind of game, and you kind of have to realise some games are going to be like this, especially in the FA Cup. The second half entirely, though, was a different story altogether. Eventually, we got the breakthrough with Sane kind of capitalising on basically some fortuitous goalkeeping, shall we say. The ball eventually finding its way in with Phil Foden sensibly kind of backing off, not to give the ref an excuse to put his flag up, and the ball trickled into there. And after that, it became kind of like the Phil Foden show, to be fair to him. His first goal was really, really nice. Maybe a little bit of bad keeping, but the way he jinked past one defender, sidestepped a little bit of space and got his shot off was absolutely lovely. Then after that, there was a freak moment where Newport got back into it. That was a strange thing. I thought Edison had a good game, but he had no chance with that goal. The ball kind of bobbled, and then their forward got his foot over it and lifted it over the keeper. Just a strange lapse. But in a game like that, on a pitch like that, sometimes those moments happen. And the most important thing was the reaction, and the reaction came from the ice cold killer Phil Foden. What a goal! What a goal that was. He ran once again at the defence, jinxed past another and rocketed it into the top corner. Phil was fantastic. I'll get onto his performance later on in a little bit more detail in the individual players bits, as you can see below, but he was a difference there with that stone cold mentality, and I believe honestly that happened because he'd scored the first goal. He was full of confidence. And then eventually, obviously, Mahrez found his goal he'd been desperately craving as he drilled it into the far post with a great finish from a very tight angle, a very Mahrez kind of goal, but he kind of wanted that goal, and I guess in the end he kind of earned it. Onto the individuals, I thought Edison, that will get boring very quickly, won't it? I'll stop doing that. I thought Edison I think he had a pretty good game, really. I think Ederson's in quite good form at the moment. I said on Twitter that, and I actually stand by that. If you think about it at the moment, he's making some very big saves. He's obviously as good as he ever is with the ball at his feet. And even in a game like this, when the pitch was that kind of scrappy, he was still making like little short passes and also some pinged 70-yard balls straight onto our forwards' chests. He's so good, and what a fantastic player. I thought Danilo had a pretty decent game. He got forward well, had plenty of energy. One point he hit the post from a good save from the keeper, and he shot a couple of times as he does, but this wasn't the kind of game where Danilo was ever going to shine, really, because he was a little bit scrappier than this. And same for the Zinchenko at left back. He did nothing wrong, really, but didn't do anything overly exceptional either. And I think that can largely be said for the centre backs as well. I thought Stones and Otamendi, despite that little weird kind of mix up towards their goal in the second half, I thought they were okay. They pretty much did their job with no real worries. I mean, Newport were always going to maybe have the odd moment or two. Football likes the stories like that, and from long throws and things like that, which they kind of did in the first half, they're going to create a chance here and there, because you can't really control where the ball bounces. It goes off in different directions. But other than that, I think they kind of swept up pretty well. I mean, it was hard for our team and our usual passing style at the back, given the fact the ball was just going in every single direction. But they did it pretty well. And Fernandinho as well was a warrior, as he always is. I don't know why he was starting this game, because I'd like to see him rested, because I'm terrified of the idea of him getting injured. But eventually he came off and there was no injuries there, with Laporte coming on and Stones into midfield. But Fernandinho, well, he was Fernandinho. He was tough, he was solid, he was fantastic in the challenges, he always is, and put in a pretty good shift. We just need someone else now that can possibly play there. No Delph in the squad at all was interesting, given the fact that some are saying he is fit. Maybe he's fallen out of favour with Guardiola there for whatever reason. If you would have thought in a game like this, in a scrappy game, he would have been the ideal kind of step in to play against Newport, but it didn't happen. He wasn't in the squad at all. Ahead of him, David Silva kind of had a mixed game, if we're being honest. He's not in great form at the moment, El Major. I think we can all admit that. I still love him, and I still have got no doubt that he'll find his way out of this form, but I think there's signs of fatigue and tiredness, and at the moment his confidence is a little bit lower than where it should be. I think over in the first half of the season he played so much football that it started to affect his game now, and he's a little bit tired. I think he played that much football because De Bruyne was out, so it made sense, but I think we're seeing the negative effects on a 33-year-old body now, and he's starting to slow down big time. But I think he'll be okay. We will play through this, and I'm sure he will be useful again in a City shirt, don't worry, but it wasn't his best game. And a game on a pitch like this, I can't understand that. Foden, fantastic. I'm so happy for him. As most people have noticed as well, it takes him about 45 minutes to actually get going, and given how little he plays, that makes sense. For a player like Foden, a youngster trying to make his impression in the game, he needs rhythm, he needs continuity, and when he doesn't play for God knows how many games in a row on end and disappears off the bench a little bit, it's very hard for him to immediately get back into the speed of things, so he does take a bit of time to get there. But what was the most encouraging thing for today was that he actually got the reward for his conviction and his confidence. That goal, even though the keeper could have done better for the first goal, that was all about his individual desire, and he got the reward from showing some positivity, and the confidence that he got from that 100% directly linked into his second goal, where he tried the same thing again and he scored once again. You could see the spring in his step. I mean, that could have just been the bouncy muddy pitch, but he looked more confident as he ran towards the goal, and his finish was even better, and there was no chance the keeper was getting near that. He also played some lovely through balls as well. I think Phil is obviously a fantastic player. It's going to be hard for him now towards the end of the season to get the game time, with the game's getting more and more important, and his status as a squad player kind of means he won't be involved as much as he'd like to be. But today was a big moment for him, and he played well, and he was ice cold, and he snuffed out at Newport when they had a bit of an opportunity, and that's a big game mentality. Ahead of him, I thought Mahrez, as I said earlier, had a pretty decent game, really. He shoots a lot, yes he does, but I think we kind of know that anyway. Sometimes you should pass more, but in general, against Newport today, I didn't actually think it was that bad a tactic, because the pitch was so minging. At some point you just need one of these goals to go in, and eventually got there. Gabriel Jesus did okay, worked pretty hard. Not much came off for him, but he worked pretty hard. I can't really deny that. And Sane as well had a quietish first half, but he ended up being a bit of a threat and got his goal, and he did terrify Newport for just being there. He's not in great form, but once again, I can't really question his work rate or anything like that, because I still think he did put a shift in. Overall, it was just the kind of game where you just got to get through it and see it out, and Pep Guardiola would have said exactly the same kind of thing. We've got big games now with Schalke and the Carabao Cup final coming up, and this was the kind of game where you can't really take it for granted. Newport were always going to be up for this. They were always going to kind of have their moment, because this is what the FA Cup does. This is what that kind of pitch does. It is a leveller, but at the end of the day, our quality did shine through. It was really nice to see some great moments from Phil Foden. It was really nice to see some great moments from Mahrez, and now for me, it just shows how much this team have taken these competitions seriously. Now, in previous years gone by, I'm almost certain at some point this game we're probably going to lose this. It feels like we're going to lose this. But now with this team, we've got a bunch of players who don't let up when they need to get a goal, when they need to win. I know we're not playing perfectly at all points, but you cannot doubt how hard they actually worked to get the result today. They did in a very difficult set of circumstances, and we're clearly going for all the competitions. And now the fact that we've got a squad that is this strong, I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but we've got a very good chance now to go very far in most of them, which is just a victory upon itself. We've got a chance now next week to win our first trophy, and given the fact that Chelsea United play each other after that, it leaves a very open route to the final if we get a little bit of luck. You know, we might not get there, but we could be in 2 domestic finals with a little bit of luck. Well, we're in one of them already, but we could get a second if we get a favourable draw. And we can't look this chance in the mouth at the moment, because this opportunity to go far, well, confidence is born by winning games, and we're winning games at the moment. You just got to keep winning games. I'm very happy. I'm happy with that result. I think Newport played really well. I think our players did the best they could in a situation that was always going to be very difficult, and I can't complain too much. Guys, I want to know what you think, and also I want to say thank you to all these guys on this side of the screen here, scrolling down. Absolute heroes. These are the guys who support my Patreon, or is it that side of the screen? I do this every single time. I think it's over my right shoulder. Well, I have no idea. It's inverted anyway, so that could be in for right shoulder as you're looking at it. But anyway, I'm waffling. These guys are supporting my Patreon. Thank you very much. You're all absolute heroes. If you want to get involved, patreon.com/Esteemed Company. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know your man of the match and all that kind of stuff. I've been Steven. Subscribe if you know, and I'll see you soon.